Hola, and welcome to Around the Reel.
That was kind of sensual.
I didn't feel it, but
You didn't
I'm
feel
not
it?
one of those people who turns themselves on. Thank God. I think we could both do better.
I think so. But no, that was
Yeah.
actually kind of nice. And I love how full your voice is now, coming through the mic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We can hear you very well. It's good. It's good. Dude, I'm excited today, Steve. Come on.
Yeah.
We released Blackout.
We got some
Blackout got
talent.
dude, yeah, we got great guests, but we gotta talk about us
yes.
first.
And we also have a audiobook.
Yeah, our series came out today, and I didn't think anybody would listen to this fucker because no one even knew what I was trying to make. No one gave a shit. However, it got over 100 views today. The episode 1 got over 100 views, and that's fucking crazy.
Episode 1 of Blackout, a sci-fi audio series.
Yeah, and it's super fucking fun, and I can't wait. So again, just to remind everybody, Blackout's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music. 2 episodes will be released every week through March, and at the end of March, all 10 episodes should be up. I think that's going to be close, something like that.
Yeah,
and if you don't listen to it now, you could binge them all when they're out, and then you'll find it on YouTube next month.
In 5 more weeks, probably from today.
Yeah. Sci-fi, global conspiracies, badass action.
And it really is built, though, to kind of let you, I think at the episode breaks that you have, I think it is good to listen to episodically.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
I
Build
think
up a little bit of anticipation, suspense.
Yeah, and they're quick. And I was thinking that to myself, too. It's like, okay, how long does it take to drive to, like, the grocery store and then on your way back? 15 minutes, maybe 20 max, depending. Okay, so these episodes are between 10 and 15, 18 minutes, I think is the longest one.
Yeah.
So you could literally listen to them when you're just driving in your car real quick to run an errand, and they're fucking good. And I'm so happy about them. So.
And it's a movie length total, so that's really cool.
Yeah, and you get 2 hours, 11 minutes of a story, broken up into 10 chapters. Pretty cool. I'm just glad we did it. Anyway, okay, so we don't got a lot of time with our guests today, but we got to talk to them about some cool shit. And I love these guys.
We should probably bring them in.
Yeah, I think we should. I love these guys. So let's get them in and not fuck around anymore. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have Angela DiMarco and David Hogan from Mighty Tripod with us today. And they'll be coming on the show in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Around the Reel. Your host, Aaron Carlson, Steve Eaton, and Samantha Hanna. Ah, shit. Here we go again.
Oh, yes. Here they are. We've got Angela DiMarco and David. Yes.
The Mighty Tripod.
That music, that was good.
It's a good intro.
Good. I like
Oh,
that.
thank you, guys.
It
It gets you going, right?
Yeah, it's good. I really
I agree with Aaron, Steve. That was very sensual. It was very sensual. Your intro.
Thank you, Angela. I appreciate it.
It's hot. It's damn hot. No, thank you, guys. Samantha made that music on her phone. She had a little app to make music on it, and she did it on her phone. We were driving to Gig Harbor. She was on the bridge. She's like, "What do you think of like this tune I just made?" I'm like, "Dude, that's that was 6 years ago."
That's so
made that
cool.
Shit. I know, it's fun, right?
He's a multi-talent.
Yeah, she did good. Anyway, you guys, thank you for joining us today. I know you guys are busy. You got a lot of shit going on. Like, I thought we were always busy, but Steve, these guys do a lot of shit too.
They make us look very lazy.
I know.
We appreciate it.
So, please, David, I would love for you to start on the show. Please introduce yourself to the audience in case people don't know who you are, and let us know what you do, man.
Okay, well, hello everybody. Thanks for having me on the show. It's really great to be here. My name is David Hogan. I'm a Seattle guy. I was not born here, but I was raised here. I've been here since 1977.
Hell yeah.
And yes. I'm an actor, filmmaker, photographer, and an educator. So my wife and I run Mighty Tripod Acting Studio and Mighty Tripod Productions, and I own and operate Seattle Actor Photos, which does headshots for actors. And I do some acting here or there, and I just love my work.
I love it, dude. David, you're the man, dude. You get a lot of shit done. I'll tell you that right now.
Thanks, buddy. Stay busy.
I thought you were about
Yep.
to say, I love my wife, and then you turned it into I love my
I think
work.
I heard love my wife.
I said
I
wife.
heard it.
It sounded like life, but I said wife. I said I love my wife, and
you're a big part of it. So
Big time.
either way.
I love my life. I love my wife. You know.
And Angela,
Good save, Steve. Good save.
Angela, go ahead, please introduce yourself.
First of all, excuse it look like I'm in my closet for everybody watching. I love being back on Around the Reel. Today I'm doing a double show day. I'm doing 2 plays. I just did a matinee. I'm in my dressing room, so these are my costumes.
Wow.
And this is my full stage makeup, although I would have got glam for you guys.
Yeah.
But I'm Angela, aka Mama DiMarco, actor, filmmaker, director, educator. And as David said, I love Aaron smoking. He's like, yeah, what's up, queen? Dave and I started Mighty Tripod Acting Studio. We started Mighty Tripod Productions 13 years ago. And then I've been acting stage and screen since I was a kiddo. And much like David, I also started in Seattle in 1977, but I was born here. So born and raised Pacific Northwest.
Beautiful, beautiful. Man, all right, you guys. So let's just jump in real quick. Unless Steve, you got something you want to ask right away? Do you have something?
I am excited to hear whatever y'all want to talk about. So yeah, no, please. I didn't come up with anything early. I'm prepared.
You're prepared
to hear anything.
Ooh,
yeah,
okay.
I obviously.
Well, ooh,
I took a lot of time preparing.
I love it.
Sorry, guys.
All right then. David. So you got here in Seattle. What got you started in this acting thing in the first place? Because I know you're a multi-talented guy. Okay, I've seen all your stuff, all your work, everything you've been doing. It's crazy great stuff, and you're obviously passionate about it. And I know you both have done so much for the community up here in Seattle. But who got you started, and how did this start going in this direction for you?
Yeah, I mean, I remember in high school, my teens, I was a knucklehead. Like, I hung out with a lot of I grew up in the 80s. I grew up with a lot of crazy people. I went to Garfield, and I just did I was into a lot of mischief and a lot of, I'll just leave it at that. I was doing a lot of stuff, but I did take an acting class. I took an acting class in high school, and I have no idea why. It was like an elective. I was a senior, and I really can't remember anything other than the teacher just had the worst breath ever. Like, that's the sticking memory.
But it left an impression.
It left an impression. Halitosis, ferocious halitosis, and I was like a white rapper too, a little bit. So anyway, that's a sidebar. But my buddy, I had a really good friend, and I were in the class. We probably did a performance, but it left no impression on me. So I knew I did like acting.
Okay.
I mean, I liked watching movies, and my parents, I grew up with culture. My parents took me to plays, and they got me, they exposed me to a lot of stuff. They were great. I don't know how I got to be such a knucklehead, because my parents were pretty darn good at being parents. Anyway, when I was in college, at some point, to get out of being just a complete screw up, I got into some trouble with the law, and I was in this deferment program, and I had to basically go to outpatient treatment. And as I was getting my stuff together, my mom and my dad, this was at Seattle University. My parents both worked there, and man, I had to put up with some stuff. When I first got there in 1992, I was a complete knucklehead. And I remember being in classes, and the professors, I was underachieving, and they say things like, "You're a faculty kid. This is not acceptable." And I'm like, whoa, the pressure. Oh my God, I'm going to go get high. This is too much. And anyway, so fast forward to getting pulled over, thrown in jail, went to rehab, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like, maybe I'll turn my life around. So I joined the Seattle Youth Choir. My mom was in the choir.
Oh, wow.
They were cute. They were like honeys in the choir. And so I joined the choir because I knew I was like singing Jodeci with my friends in the back.
Good old Jodeci.
We thought we could sing and shit. It was corny. I had a voice. My mom was always kind of she was talented. She did a few plays at SU too. So I kind of had the artistic bug a little bit. So the choir came first.
Okay.
Started performing. I saw a play that the school did, and this was an ego thing. This is not the way I usually tell folks to get into it. But I saw this performance, and I just thought the guy was terrible. He was terrible at the acting thing, and I'm like, I can do it better than that.
Yeah.
And so that voice came into my head for some reason, and I ended up doing a few plays at Seattle U, taking a few classes. My first play ever was the Threepenny Opera, and I got to sing, the most famous song, "Oh, the shark has pretty teeth, dear." Like, I got to sing the Mac the Knife song.
Yeah, Mac the Knife.
Show. That spotlight at the end of the show, and I'm the last person on stage, and my ego's like, this is great. I'm the center of attention. This feels good. They like me now. This is great. And, since then, I think I've matured in my approach to what it means to be an artist. But that's how it started.
Okay. All right, dude. So many great things that you just said. First of all, the Mac the Knife thing is awesome, but I don't hear Mac the Knife. I hear the McDonald's commercial still. You know that one? Do you remember that? It's a good time for the great taste dinner at McDonald's. It's Mac tonight. Remember that shit?
I do, barely. I do.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
As soon as you said that, I was dying. I'm like, oh, dude, I love it. And then you said that you saw somebody on stage and you're like, I can do it better than that person.
Yes.
I think
feel like
that's
part of every artistic journey. It's like,
yes,
you have to be a fuck off for a while, and then you automatically you see somebody doing something you kind of want to do, and you're like, I can do better. And that's the two things that start every artistic journey.
I think so. It gives you that motivation. It gives you that feeling where, if he can do it, I can do it. Or if she can do it, I can do it. And I think that's a beautiful thing. I don't think that's an ego. I just think that's being competitive. I think it's just giving you the oomph to go out and do something. I'm glad you said that, David. Thank you for sharing that. I think that's a big deal. And I think if anybody sees that or feels that they should act on that.
For
you
sure.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think so. Not hating on the guy. I mean, you didn't talk shit about the dude, did you?
No, I don't.
Okay.
That was a long time ago.
Name
Not to his face anyway. I mean,
Well, let's bring in. No,
I wish we had him in the green room right now.
I think on that too, because I know obviously Steve, Aaron, and we're the same. We're all making content as well.
Mm-hmm.
And Aaron already knows this about me. Like, my big thing, we started our company was us encouraging our students, don't wait, create, don't wait, create.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of watching somebody going, I could do a better film, or I could do that role better, but also put that aside. And I think I've grown as an artist now where I look at my own stuff and I'm like, I know I can do better than that.
Yes.
I know I can do better than that. I know that I'm going to do even on stage, film, and the films we make. And that's something that when David and I met, and Aaron and I have talked about this a little bit, but not really, that's why we just started with short films, and I know you guys are doing like fan films, but after that, I know you guys are just gonna be going full blown like features, and you have this amazing podcast, but like just with our shorts and just every single one, we were doing something, topping it, right? And then you also had control with the roles that we were giving ourselves. Okay, I want this kind of role. And David's like, I kind of want this role. And I was like, well, I want this role, instead of us waiting for other people. So also people watching, I want to encourage them that, also create your own opportunity, because it's hard to just sit and wait for the opportunity to come to prove, oh, I'm better than that person, right? Yeah.
I think that's an excellent point. And that's exactly what we started doing in 2017, 16, somewhere there. Like, we knew our movies were getting there, but we also knew that we had a lot to learn, and you will always be learning. But every project we do has become better. You can see it, you can feel it, you can fucking smell it. Every time we're on set, it's more efficient, it's better. And the attitude of everybody on our sets is we have a lot of fun. And I really am a firm believer that what you do on set and the vibe that's there translates to screen. I really do believe that. If you're on a shitty set and you're working with a bunch of assholes, I think the movie's just gonna suck dick. I mean, I honestly do. I really believe it. I think it will. But if everybody's just having a ball and they're collaborating and they're tight, and there's this family feel and we're all connecting, the shit just magically appears. I don't have any control over that. It just happens, right? And I don't know if you guys feel that way when you're working on a project, or you tell me.
Aaron, I disagree. I do think you have a big part to do with that. I feel like, and I only worked with you guys on the one project, but it's like you guys made such a wonderful atmosphere, and, Mama, I'm Italian. You were feeding us. It's all about making sure we're fed. You were letting us collaborate and ad lib. And, I had this small little cameo cop role, but he was like, play. Go on, Queen. Play.
Just play, bro. Do your thing.
Like, okay.
Yeah.
Go. So I do think there is something with how you are to the people you create with, how you treat them. And I think, like, even our students, Dave and I will talk about and we aren't name droppers at our studio, but both Dave and I have worked with celebrities. I mean, people, we would say their names and you would know. And
Right.
some of them were assholes.
Correct.
And then we worked with some celebrities that were like amazing and treated us so incredibly, and even like shouting out, give David more coverage. He's always, So
Yeah.
I do think no matter where you are, whether you're a working artist, a celebrity, or a name, or that it's something that respect and love on a set, especially this day and age, is what makes art when it's healing versus toxic.
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
agree fully.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pressure. Like when you're on set, there's so much there. You do feel the pressure. I think if you're on the whether you're an actor or a producer, a director, whatever, there is that idea that the clock is always ticking and that money is always being burned and whatever. So there is that kind of balance of how do we keep this fun atmosphere and knowing that we have a schedule to keep and things go wrong. I think when I got into the industry, one of my friends was like, in many ways, it's kind of like filmmaking is really advanced problem solving because you get onto the set and then just things inevitably go wrong or they go sideways and you have to be able to keep your cool and keep it an enjoyable space to work in because it certainly can devolve into just a negative, hostile environment. And that is totally the worst place to be. And that's why it's important when you have been in the industry for a while, I think for me anyway, you can sniff that stuff out before you even get to set. So for me, I'm just much more selective, and I'm like, I'm happy to not work on stuff if I know that the experience and working with these people is just going to be horrible.
Right.
Even if it turns into a pretty cool project, I'm like, if I can't stand to be around you because you're a bunch of jerks, that's just not going to work.
Exactly. And it's no fun. I mean, I truly believe that doing what we do and being creative, no matter what it is, like you're doing a stage play right now, right, Angela? Okay, so I'm sure you're having a blast. It's fun, right? Okay, well, there you go.
I love it.
Yeah, it's fun. There's that piece where I think there's a balance that you got to take. Yes, we are working. We are working. I mean, and a lot of people who aren't in the industry don't understand that this is work, They don't get that part of it. They think we're just fucking around and making some movies that ain't gonna do shit because we're not in Hollywood. That's not true, right? We're all working. But at the same time, when you're doing something that you're passionate about and love, it shouldn't be hostile.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be
an
ego
intense
trip. It
fine,
shouldn't
but
be.
Hostile is not. And that's
And people are so they get so kind of clampy with their visions and what they want and how they want to run and control things. And it's like, you know how lucky you fucking are to have anybody help you bring something to life. That's the part that I don't think they get.
It's something like Steve just said too, and oh, sorry, go ahead, Aaron.
Oh no, you go.
Well, I think it's even plays. So it's like, so shout out to Village Theater. I'm doing Dial M for Murder. We run for the month of March in Everett.
Hell yeah.
But I also think people go, oh, she's taking a break because she's doing a play. Y'all, we're doing 7 to 8 shows a week. I coach and teach on Monday, Tuesday nights. Mommy has no days off. This is a job. This is my job. It is a hustle. So like Steve said, I woke up for some reason today at 5. I don't know why. I let David sleep in. I make him his tea when he's ready. I'm having my coffee, watching Love is Blind. But I'm like, Mommy's a little tired. But this is a job. So I could have come in here and, been bitching and moaning. I have to do this sold out matinee to 500 people. Like 500 people are here to watch me perform. How blessed.
Right.
Like, so
right.
I agree with Steve. It can get tense. Life is hard, but I agree with you, Aaron, in that we are all doing what we want to do because it brings us joy. But I'll speak for myself and even a little of David. Dave and I started doing it, and why we're also educators, because we love bringing joy to other people. Like we love teaching other artists how to create their own artistic path. Or we started making movies, and a lot of the movies, especially a Trapdoor, the one we have this year, which hopefully we'll talk about. But make other people feel seen, make other people feel less alone. But I also just love stuff when you're like, I want to create something epic just to create something epic. Yes. Or I want to do this murder mystery and be this badass murder mystery writer. Like I love my role. But I do think, Steve, you're right. It's making art this day and age, the lack of money, the lack of support, the lack of funds. That's theaters, that's film, that's voiceovers, that's animation, that's commercials. It makes it so much harder for us. It makes us so much, it's not easy. Anybody who thinks any of those things are easy, it is not.
It is not.
Not a
No,
bit.
I totally agree. Totally agree. Okay, so let's get into that since I'm watching the clock here because I want to get as much in as we can, guys.
I really do want to hear about a trapdoor, though.
I do. We'll
definitely
save that
get
for the
there.
end. We'll save that one for the end.
Okay.
Because I want to talk to them about helping others in their Mighty Tripod acting classes and whatnot because you guys do a lot of work in that, and I see everything you do from David. Your headshots they're brilliant, bro. You're a hell of a photographer. You do a great job in that work. But you guys are really taking actors from veterans to people who are just starting out and working with them, right? That's what you guys do.
Yeah, I mean, I think our studio really specializes in the kind of beginner to intermediate actor, although we'll work with anybody and everybody, and we have working actors that come into the studio too for our more advanced classes. But what I think we're able to provide is, we both have a lot of training under our belts, of course. We have a lot of experience, and our studio has been around for 13 years, and we're very plugged into the local industry. And there's no BS, and we also keep it fun. So there's that balance of we don't BS about the industry and how challenging it is, but we also keep things really fun because most of the time, if you can adapt the right mindset and just take it like, all right, I'm going to enter this business and I'm going to focus on the craft and the creativity. Whether or not you get to wherever you think you want to go, that has to be kind of secondary to the approach of getting in and exploring and figuring out what it means to be alive and what it means to be part of someone else's story and to be a collaborator and to experience emotions in the work and to just have a playful spirit, because it's all about the creativity. It's not really it's about the journey, not the destination, as a lot of wall signs or pillows will say. And I think that's really true, because if you focus too much on the booking or when you're going to get on that show for the first time or when you're going to be in Hollywood, that stuff can really carry a lot of negativity. And I think we are very good at focusing on the craft, the training, the growth, the work, one step at a time. And when I was doing my training in college, people told me, they were like, have you heard of the 10,000 hour rule? Do you know who Malcolm Gladwell is? Dave, it's going to take you 10 years to be any good at this thing. And I'm like, what? 10 years to get good? And maybe it will take 10,000 hours to master a craft, but you don't have to be a master of acting to book work. You don't. Right. There's a lot of people right now that can book a commercial or book a walk-on role that says, hey man, would you like fries with that? I mean, you don't have to have 10 years of actor training to do a lot of stuff that is just about relaxing, putting together a good audition and all that jazz. So we just keep it very real and very grounded, and we love our work, and we're just happy, man. We got our classes are always selling out. We have a great studio here in Georgetown, and I get to work with my better half, and it's amazing.
No,
and it's great because when David books, I can cover class, or if I book something, he can cover class. Obviously, he's been holding down the fort even more so because of my show. However, he said this before we got online with y'all. David, what did shout out to Michelle Shaddy, who is one of our grads of many moons ago, who's become a dear friend. What did Shaddy nickname? She actually is the one who nicknamed both of us.
Yeah. She called me the principal, and she calls you Mama DiMarco, because I was a bit, I tend to be a bit more like, hey, get your stuff together, guys. You got to put in the work. How many hours did you work on that monologue? I can be a bit more strict because you got to have that balance. Yeah. But I'm also, it can be it's like role playing. It's kind of good cop, bad cop in a way, and you just got to have a balance of. I always tell students, like, the bigger your dream, like the bigger your aspiration is, that's just going to require more work. Just like anything else, you know what I mean? Yeah. If you just want to, every now and again, you might want to be an extra or like do a short film every now and again, you can approach it with a bit more ease and like have a hobbyist mentality. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with it. If
you want to be, a movie star, or you want to be on TV shows as like number one on the call sheet, or like a recurring, you have to think about where your goals are. And eventually that might mean moving to a larger market, because there's only so much. Because I was watching your interview with Russell Hodgkinson, and he
that was a while ago.
how unusual and rare it is for a Northwest actor to have an opportunity to compete. Like, they shot Z Nation up here, and local actors were competing and auditioning for series regulars, and that's unheard of.
Yeah.
It's unheard of to do that. Usually folks like us who live here, if you are doing a show, if there's a show filming in the Northwest, the leads are going to be out of wherever, LA, New York, some other place, more established people. And then folks like us, we're going to be day players, and that's cool, and we get it. So if you want to be number 1, number 2, number 3 on the call sheet, if you want to be a series regular, most of the time, start your career, start your journey here. But eventually you're going to need to branch out and think about, well, how do I get rep in Hollywood, or do I move to Hollywood? Do I split my time? Because it's a business, and you have to understand how the business works.
Absolutely.
And really understanding you have to integrate that into the life that you lead, or move along from it. And that is really tough, you know.
So do you
if
guys...
you got kids, you have real life, you know, that's tough.
It is. Do you guys go into that in your classes more, trying not only the creative side, but you're teaching them how to manipulate and go through the business and stuff?
Oh yeah, our first
that's
class
great.
that we have everybody take with us, and it's our Camera One class. That is about the business of the business, but it's also all about auditioning. Because let's not get it twisted. We're professional auditioners. That is the majority of what we will do, is audition. You will audition more than you book. And Dave and I joke about it in the class, but we're like, it's not called show mess around, it's called show business. So you got to know the business, your marketing. You got to know whether you're a secondary marketer, if you're going to a bigger market. When you go to a bigger market, you do have to worry about type and brand, and y'all can sign up for class. I don't want to give you all the nuggets, but yes. And but David and I also both offer private coaching in case someone wants more, like, hey, I just want to like only work with you. I want to be, this is my path. Here's my goal. So we do that as well.
Okay.
But absolutely, progression we have. And as you guys probably know, I know you guys do auditions. In 2020, self-taping became even more prominent. It was already here, but it's here to stay. So we have a whole self-taping academy now, because that has turned into and taken away our in-person auditions. That has turned into the majority of how we are being seen. So think about that. It's a plus and a minus. So we've started talking about that a lot more.
What's
So
your overall opinion on it? Sorry, since we're chatting about it, I have lots of feelings about it, but.
So, I mean, I'll let David speak for himself. So I go back and forth, but I will say, obviously, when it first was happening many years ago, like 10 years ago, I think when Dave and I first got like a self-tape, and we're like, oh, okay. And, you know, you just weren't taking it seriously. And now there's these standards, and we teach that in our class. However, my first thing, Steve, was I was pissed. Here's another thing actors have to pay for.
Yes.
Here's another, I get 2020. I get why we were doing it then, but now it's here to stay, and we're out of that. You know, we're able to go outside, we're able to do in-person auditioning, but I understand a lot of casting directors got rid of their brick and mortar. They're not doing in person, so I get it. However, though, what Dave and I have done at least is made it like, I mean, look at this wonderful setup we have at the studio. Obviously, we're not telling students to buy this, go drop thousands of dollars and have an amazing setup. They can always hire us to tape at the studio, but we're trying to make sure actors can at least do the professional industry standards to an extent without them having to drop a ton of money for something they're probably not going to book.
Yeah.
Right.
And not because they're not good, but only because one person gets it. So that was my first bugaboo. Second thing, Steve, then I was like on board. I'm like, oh, mommy doesn't have to leave the house. I don't have to carpool or commute. You know, no more carpooling with friends to get to an audition. So I do like that. I get to do the audition when I feel ready. What I miss the most, in-person auditions are usually this. I miss being in the room.
Yeah.
Aaron knows this about me. I'm a people person. Like, I win a room. I like, get me in the room, and I know that I would book off of that. And you can't really do that in a self-tape. You can do it in a Zoom a little bit. They're usually pretty quick too. And I even see my Wi-Fi is kind of shitty right now. I apologize. So that happens. I've had students, their Wi-Fi froze, they got kicked out.
Yep. Yeah.
And this is a callback. And they so Steve, I'm like, I'm this and this. But that being said, and I'll hand it to David. David books and auditions way more out of town than I do. And for that reason, that's been cool.
Mhm.
That now we can submit to anywhere and everything. So that was not the case. So it's made Seattle's market, even though we're still a small secondary market, the access we have now to other things is David booked a role in a feature in Atlanta. It's like that
Yeah.
wouldn't have happened pre self-tape.
Right, exactly.
So
Yep,
what do you,
that makes sense. That
what
makes
do you
sense.
think, D?
Yeah, I mean, it's there's always pluses and minuses, right? There's always like pros and cons, and I think self-taping is amazing for a lot of reasons, but I also appreciate how the industry has changed. I feel like early 2021, like 2021, I feel like a lot of casting was very strict about like, we expect that you have this or that backdrop color, and they were very strict about a few things. And I think they're starting to relax, at least some commercial casting, because I see casting calls and they're like, hey, do your best to have a clutter-free backdrop, and if you can't get a full body shot, send us a head to toe still shot. So I feel like the industry is listening, because it gets hackles up for actors, because suddenly we're doing the job that the casting directors used to do. We
Right,
would
right.
come in and we do the thing. We didn't have to know anything about video cameras and lighting and technologies and mic. We didn't have to know anything. And now we have to know all that stuff. And to be like competitive, for me anyway, because I am a photographer and I like gear, I enjoy the process of setting it up and making it look good and making it sound great. But definitely not every actor is like that. And think about people who are not tech savvy. It is
Exactly.
ridiculous. So my main thought is that for the most part, I think that self-taping should be an option always. But I do feel like there should be more of a priority for Zoom auditions as being the standard. To, hey, make the time, open up the space, let us
Mhm.
interact with you, let us engage with you, and at least something that feels a little more personal. Because what also happens, and this is not exactly self-taping related, but what I feel like happens sometimes for like commercial casting. So for a commercial casting call, because I have a talent agent, shout out to Big Fish and Melissa Baldoff. I do love my reps. A client, instead of a client, so if I'm casting a commercial spot and I need some talent, a client will sometimes just send a breakdown to an agent and say, hey, send me your people, right? And then the agent sends out all this information to all their actors, and then a bunch of actors tape. Here's what I think is missing. I think the client should have to go through an agent roster and then select the actors that they want to see for these parts, because I think in many cases they're wasting a lot of actors' time. And I know this because a lot of times actors self-tapes, they don't get watched.
Yeah.
They're not being watched. And why am I submitting for a role? I get roles that come in front of me and I'm like, I'm in no way right for this part. Why am I going to send in for something that's supposed to be some older dad who like can't handle anything and he can't keep up with his kids? I'm like, I can keep up with the kids. All right, come on. I got vigor. I've got the energy. I'm not submitting for this part. I know you don't want me. And I know if they would have seen my package, if they see my materials and they see my headshots and they see my vibe, they're not going to call me in for that kind of washed up dad. That's not me.
Yeah.
So why am I wasting my time? So I think there should be, without, and a lot of jobs are not using casting directors, which we all know.
Yeah.
So I feel like the clients should take that one extra step before just saying, send me all you got. They should, narrow it down a bit. And because then the actors will feel more valued.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a great point.
Fantastic. Yeah,
that's a great point.
I think it's really one of, and you would think from a casting director's side or a client side. I hate auditions. It's one of the points where Aaron and I really agree.
Yeah.
I absolutely hate them. I think they're a misery machine. But that said, you think for a casting director, being that you're like, okay, well, what if that wonderful actor took 28 takes to get to the point to where you were, or if they were, as you said, particularly good technically at making a nice picture, and you had somebody who's a fantastic actor but couldn't fucking get in focus, you're missing out on a lot of the softer skills you might understand from an actor from an in-person specifically.
Absolutely.
Or at least a Zoom.
Absolutely. At least a Zoom. And I couldn't agree with David more on that. I think the Zoom thing is legit. I've done, and this is before I even got into this industry in filmmaking, I've never had an interview for a real job that I didn't get. If I got an interview, I got the fucking job. I always did. Every time. I've never walked out of a job interview and didn't get the job. Even something I didn't know. My last job, working for the state of Washington, I just randomly applied for this gig just because I knew the work was slow. And I was like, I better get a fucking job where Sam's going to hate me, kids are going to hate me, everybody's going to fucking hate me. I got to be a man. Jesus Christ, this sucks. I applied for this fucking job at this, I won't name it, but I worked for the state. Anyway, I get a call back for an interview. I'm like, shit, okay, I'll take the interview. I had no idea what to do in this department. I got in that interview with 3 people on the board. They've been working at the State Department for 15, 20 years. I got the job right there, just right there.
Yeah.
I bullshitted my way through that. Like you said, Angela, you own the room. You know you can do it.
Yeah.
I feel that way, and I know it's
But
like
you're
I can,
also
it's like the Ben Kenobi shit. You know, you don't need to do this. You know, it's just
I mean,
you can do it.
But you also knew that, you're like, teach me, I'll do it. Let's go.
Exactly. I can learn.
Like Steve is saying, and know that like Mighty Tripod, we're going to start offering our casting services again for indie projects, because it's like we want to start opening it like, hey, let David and I take that burden from you guys and help run the Zoom for you, or do in person at our studio for exactly what Steve and Aaron that you're saying, that there's just a benefit for you guys as the producers and directors, and for the actors to be in the room. And for what Aaron just said, like whether it's a job that you're BSing or a role you're BSing, like, yeah, I could do that. Talk to me. Then the director gets to give the actor feedback. Mm-hmm. Oh, I could do that with this scene. Mm-hmm. Oh, I could do that with this state job. So I think with the self-tape, we know sometimes, and I like to pride myself in the breakdowns Dave and I create for our films, but I'm sure there's times I've missed something, but I have definitely gotten breakdowns before, and I'm like, I'll ask my agent, shout out to Melissa, I'm like, girl, is there anything else? Because I do not know what the hell to do with this scene. Mm-hmm. Like, it might be like, woman, any ages. There you go. Like sometimes it doesn't, it won't give you any kind of descriptive. I mean, even the co-star role that I got on Grimm, they failed to mention my role was supposed to be a junkie. She was a drug addict. Okay. Huge difference than how I came in. It didn't have any, so like, even like those kind of, and I booked the role, but I remember at the callback, they said, hey, and gave me this feedback. Thank God it was in the room. This is before 2020. But I was like, oh my God, thank you for letting me know that. That wasn't in the breakdown. And they kind of gave me some, like, if you could do this, or even you come in with this kind of appearance. Because I was looking a little bit more like on point. And they were like, no, she's had a hard night, like, blah, blah, blah. Think about stuff, roles like, I still always use that as an example in the studio. So when we get a self-tape and actors are like, I don't know what to do. And I reach out and my agent says, that's all they sent. Then you just got to make a choice. And what if an actor just happens to make a 180 because the producer didn't send long enough, or because we're doing self-tapes first? Right. Yep. Yeah.
That's exactly it. And
I don't know.
No, it makes sense. And that's why I think Steve and I don't like doing auditions. We don't. We haven't for
we know
3-4 years.
That weirdness is in there.
Yeah, that weirdness is in there. Know. But here's the thing.
You guys just hire us. Just hire us.
Well, we know we keep local as much as possible. And if we don't, and we've got somebody outside of, Washington State that's coming and wants to be a part of something that we're making, they've already done work. We've seen them work, right? I know these fuckers can act. I already know this. How do I get along with them? How am I going to be on set with somebody? Do we vibe? Yeah. And I don't think you're going to get that through a self-tape. You're going to get that through talking.
Maybe
to
not
them.
even a Zoom.
Yeah. So, one thing Around the Reel is all about is auditioning. That's what we use this show for. We get to know them. This is an hour-long audition. If we like you, we're like, holy shit, we already know they're creative, right?
It's all been a trick, everyone.
But it's one way for us to actually get to know the person and feel their energy and their vibe and why they're doing what they do. We don't want somebody that's just doing it because they want that popularity or they want to make that paycheck. I like people that really just like to fucking dig in and tell a cool story and be a badass on screen. That's what I like. And I want other people to be like me and like-minded people kind of a thing. And I think that's why our sets work, because we are very selective with who we choose to work with. But I don't know. But it pisses some people off because they're like, when's the audition? I'm like, we don't have any auditions. We already casted everything.
We don't like that.
And then they hate us.
So based on that, and this is one heck of a change here, but so you have both directed now your first, is it a first full film, or is it just one that you've done together now for the first time?
Oh no, we've done many films together.
Okay.
As for directed together,
Yes.
is that what you're saying, Steve?
Yes.
I mean, there's been a lot of shorts and 48s.
Mm-hmm.
Even Always, which was my directorial debut. However, I'm going to give David a shout out anyway. He really, I would say, co-directed that with me. And for folks who aren't familiar with that, that's a film we did dedicated to our son who we lost.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was a very brutal, very raw, and I don't know what I was thinking, starring in it and directing it. And like when David's scenes came up, I literally, after this huge emotional scene, went into the other room to like cry and David came in and went, babe, you have to direct me. And I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Right. Oh,
Figure it out,
yeah.
David. I'm in the room.
Yeah. But that being said, I think David directed a lot more with me on that film than a lot of people know. But for actually co-directing a Trapdoor, I mean, I guess you could say this might be the first one where we actually have, right, Dave?
All right.
Dave. Did you call me Dave? She called me Dave. Okay, yeah, Ange. Yeah, this is our first time that we co-directed Ange. Thank you for bringing that up.
No, Ange. No.
Everybody should call Angela Ange. Let's put it out on the air.
No.
What she likes. No, she doesn't like it.
No.
But no, of course.
Fucking Aaron called me Steven earlier. I almost
did.
lost an eyeball.
Steven, the meeting is starting.
I don't-
Are you ready for the meeting?
Yeah.
Very formal. Steven. But yeah, this is definitely the first time, like, on the IMDb and on the credits, co-directing, and it was nice to kind of split up too, because we kind of filmed the Trapdoor in 2 stages. So the first part of the film, I was not available for those dates. Angela did that, and then the stuff we had to pick up later, Angela was in a lot of that. And not that, I mean, I love Clint Eastwood. A lot of people self-direct, and it's possible. I find it rather challenging. So it was helpful, I think, to have Angela focusing on her work.
Angela does not look like a fan.
And then I got to just do the directing thing, which was it's not. I mean, directing is its own beast, and I'm okay at it. I'm good at talking to actors about performance stuff, and I'm good at giving suggestions and notes and anything to modify a performance. I feel pretty comfortable doing that. Shot selection, I'm going to have to work with the DP that I can really get along with, and someone who's willing to kind of take me under their wing a bit, because that's definitely, I'm a little bit weaker there. I don't say I'm looking for directing gigs, but if it was something that we produce, then it's kind of directing if necessary, but I feel much more comfortable as a producer or an actor for sure.
How did a Trapdoor?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Steve.
Oh, I was just going to ask how a Trapdoor came to be.
It's our writer. So James, Longtail and the Kite, he reached out to me, dropped into my DMs, and he knows this, so I could share this. And I was like, who's this dude? And I get a lot of people dropping in my messages. David knows this. Anyway, and usually Mamo just says, I'm happily married, or delete or block. But this guy dropped David, its name, and said, hey, I did a play with David many years ago. I have the script. I'd love you to read it. I still at first was like, ugh. They're using David's name, and a lot of people sent me scripts, and we just didn't have a lot of bandwidth. But then I checked in with David. I said, hey, do you know this guy, James? He said you guys did a Shakespeare show together. And he was like, oh, yeah. I was like, oh, shit. Okay, I got to read it. Read the script. It was a feature. Amazing. Longtail and the Kite, the feature, and even the short, which is what we have out this year, Steve, because we only could raise X amount of money. We tried to raise $800,000. Huge. I know that sounds like a lot to some people, but it's really not for what this feature needed. Yeah. But what we ended up raising, and this is going to sound like a lot to some people, well, maybe I don't need to go into the budget for the short, but what we did raise, probably what sounds like a lot for some people for a short, but for who we hired and the professionals we hired, and we're really big on paying a really good wages for our crew and our cast.
Mhm.
We're able to do the short version of it, and this story is loosely based on the true story of his wife, Kira, who came on as a producer as well, and it is about their family. It is a story about the loss of a family member, and it's about the trauma that can impact children, and then the present day as adults, the sister who has battled the most trauma and since gone down her trap door of addiction. That's my character, Frances, who's loosely based on her sister who overdosed during the process of us creating this film over the past 3 years. So the story changed. It kept morphing because of that, and because we lost Nina, it hit in a very different way. Dave and I both have battled addiction, and so have James and Kira. So have, I would say, 80% of our cast and crew have all either lost someone to addiction, battled addiction themselves, currently battling addiction. It wasn't something that we sought out. Like, you must have been an addict, but it's just what it was.
What attracted,
and
yeah.
Yeah, and it's something too that, again, like I said, what drew me to it, and I would say the first two, and there's no shade on David. I told David, I'm going to take this under my wing for the first 2 years, basically, of producing. And that was just James and I workshopping the script, figuring out locations, figuring out what the story could be in a short that could still be powerful. You know, when you have to condense a feature.
Yeah, it sucks. It's hard.
I'm so fucking proud of what we created.
Good for
the
you.
Crew, I'm like on cloud 9 about everybody who came on. The cast, Russell, shout out, who you guys interviewed. Russell's a dear friend of mine of many years. Barbara Deering, who's the mother. Adara, who plays my sister. The kids that we brought, Jana and Zeze, who play a younger version of me, younger version of Adara. James has a role in it. David has a role in it. Jeremy, Giovanni.
Giovanni's in it too. I love that kid. I love him to death.
Giovanni is the dad, man. He'll shatter your heart and then put it back together.
Awesome.
But shout out to our DP, Ryan Purcell. He really, I am seeking director jobs. I love directing. I am a very visual director, and that's probably where my OCD comes into play in a really good way. I dreamt a lot of what I knew certain scenes needed to be. Just like our trailer that's out right now, totally imagined that. And then God bless our editor as well, Caitlin Larson, who I was like, no, it has to be this. I'm sure she's like, oh my God, this bitch. But she totally had patience with me. And then Brian Sloss and Catherine Joy, our post-audio sound, and our composer, what they have done, and everybody in our crew, and Derek and Raymond and Brian and Lisa, and William, they just, everybody, and Gavin, everybody, you will see a piece of them. Do you know what I mean?
I do.
Gavin makes me emotional still. Gavin lost his father during filming.
Okay.
This is a film about the loss of it was just, there were so many things happening. We had people who lost friends who OD'd while we were filming. So there was all these things happening. I had people that I didn't know, part of cast and crew, come up to me and share a story with me after a really brutal scene that I had to do. So just, do you know what I mean? It's one of those where you're like, oh shit, it's bigger than me. This is it. I'm supposed to make this short film. Cool. Yeah, I want to make it. But once we were done, and David got sick the week he was supposed to direct, he was super sick. So he wore a mask and was like, I can't get Angela sick, but I'm not going to sleep here. Sorry, babe. So it was everything kept trying to, the fires were happening, smoke, but we did it. And we're submitting right now, and we'll keep you guys posted. Hopefully we'll get a Seattle premiere, hopefully.
I fucking love it. Good job, you guys. That's amazing. That's amazing. Look at you guys making these emotional movies. Yeah, the donors especially.
Oh, sorry. Yes, you're right. We're glad for punishment, but I do want to shout this out because I know, Aaron, you guys are all about it too. Like, shout out to our donors.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
Our angel investors and our executive producers. This was the first film we ever did where we did an act, and we could not have made it had we not raised that money.
Raise the money, yeah. It's amazing when that comes together. It's good, but the emotion behind the work you guys are doing is crazy. I mean, you're doing Mighty Tripod, which I would find that being emotional when you see people succeed after you've helped them get there. Sure. It would affect me. I'm a pussy, so I'll start crying in a heartbeat. I'll be like, "Oh, you made it, man. You did it." You know, I'm that guy. I get emotional when an actor thanks me like over and over about giving them an opportunity to act in something that I fucking made. I'm like, I couldn't make this without you, fucker. What
Yeah.
what are you talking
You
about?
you end
I
up
should
in
be
a Canadian
thanking you.
standoff where you're like, no, I'm gonna cry now. I'm thanking you.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then you guys are making, we're making like fun stuff. We go out, we're making our stupid fan film horror movies right now. It's built an audience, great. That was our goal, to build a YouTube channel with it. We make our serious documentaries. Those are features that we've done. Those are our pride and joy for being serious filmmakers. Enjoy making those too. But we've got so much other things coming up that we can't wait to get to. And I sit here and I'm thinking, like, everything that we make is fun, Steve. It's just like parts of us playing as kids. Like, we're going to make this Western. We're going to make this big animated movie. We're going to do, some of these other thrillers we got. Yeah, all this stuff fun. We're going to be across the board genres. People just think we're horror. We're not. We're not horror. If you watch the Horrorverse, it's action. It's just character building. It's like Resident Evil. It's cheesy, be fun. That's all it is. However,
but to do something of your heart like that.
That's what I'm saying. Before we end the show, I want to go back to Always. That to me, why'd you guys even attempt to make that movie? Can I ask that question? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Why would you
David
go and
said
want to do
yes.
that?
David said yes. I saw it. I envisioned it, and that's usually a lot of the movies that we make that are in this world. We did a bunch of, shout out to the Seattle 48 Hour project. We did a ton of 48s.
Okay.
And those were the ones we would do for fun. And we did a lot of horror, or we did a lot of comedies, so definitely we've done a bunch of those. And when we won Best of the Fest, that's when we decided we didn't want to compete anymore. We felt like if we won, now it's time to step back and let's get our students doing it. However, the Parish, which was a feature we did, which is all about vets.
I love that
and
movie.
losing a partner, a veteran to war, and about a single mother having to raise a kid. My mom lost my dad and had to be a single mom and raise her children, move us. So it's like, I think a lot of people don't know that, but Always, I envisioned it, I saw it, I just knew I needed to tell it for my own healing.
Okay.
Many people know this, but some people don't. And obviously David was my rock. I was suicidally depressed. We lost 3 kids. A lot of people don't know that, but our son was the hardest. And I asked David, will you help me? And he said, yes. And when we made it, I said, can we share this? I feel like we have to share it. He said, I think we have to. And it was like the gates opened. It screened at Cannes. It screened at SIFF. You're on the radio. It made other people feel like they could talk about it, and especially the partners. The mama warriors, I'm all about us, I get it, but it's the partner who didn't carry the child. They're the one, like, nobody talks about their story.
Right.
I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. And we had so many partners reach out thanking us, and that's where David helped on that film. David was like, could we change this? Because he's like, babe, because that's not really, I was going through this. So David got to show more of like his side, and we didn't show any loss of a child in the film. We were very open about it, but it was clear that a child had been lost between them, and this child comes to my character to basically tell her it's okay. Wow. So
thank you for sharing it. And David, thank you for allowing Mama DiMarco to do it. And I know that unfortunately, I think David has to hit the road right about now. And we wanted to give you a kickoff and say thank you so much for being on.
Oh, it's good to be here. It's good to be here, guys. And it's always, you have to support your other half,
Absolutely.
You feel like something is important for them, and you want to, we're all still naive to think that not everybody is walking around with some version of like pain. Like pain is the thing that everybody gets to have on this journey. So if you can figure out how to use pain and tell a story that helps somebody else or transforms your pain into something different, I think that's always a good thing to do and to work on. So it was really, there's no choice but to work on Always with Angela, for sure. And I think that part of my fascination with dramatic, I don't know, I just like dramatic movies, like In the Bedroom, You Can Count on Me, Manchester by the Sea, like those kinds of stories always move me the most. So I'm very comfortable working in the dramatic genre. Although I'm ready to do something a little bit, easy breezy. I think there's a lot of drama going on right
monster
now.
movie. They're fun.
So I'm ready for
Right.
something not so dramatic, maybe the next time out. So we'll see.
too.
I feel you guys.
We're gonna
Um,
look forward to it.
It's fucking. It's impressive, you guys. I love you both. So thank you very much for doing what you guys do. You're very inspirational people. You really
Appreciate
are.
that.
You really are. And the work you're doing for everybody out there, and using your art to heal. Yeah, I didn't really think about it when I asked the question, but I think I do it too. A lot of the characters I write
Yes.
are me,
You
one
can't
way
help
or
it.
another. Yeah, one way or another, and it just comes out, and it's very strange. So kudos to you guys for doing what you're doing. I think you guys are badasses, so thank you very much.
Thanks, Aaron. Thanks,
All
Steve.
right.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, all right. DiMarco, you got a show to do. David, I don't know what you were going to do again. Were you going to play
I got a
some
coaching.
Xbox?
I'm working with this young. I think she's 10, but she is
Aw.
on it, man. So a lot of my 10-year-olds, they're like, they're kind of, but they are driven, all kind, triple threat, and just like, wow, I'm just so impressed. So it's always
Badass.
exciting
So cool.
to coach people that age when they're ready and they're sharp, and you can tell they read books and they're not into just social media and just like, I want to be an artist. I'm like, I support that. Let's go.
Fucking down. Let's go. Good for you.
All
man.
right.
All right. Thank you guys for taking time with
It's
us
been
today.
a pleasure. Thank
It's
you.
been an absolute pleasure. Steve, close it
You
out.
guys
man.
rock.
Thanks, y'all.
You do
Good
too.
to be here.
Thank you, everybody, for being with us on Around the Reel with David Hogan and Mama DiMarco, Angela DiMarco, and If You Nasty. Thank you so much for joining us. And think hard, everyone, because you're thinking everyone.
You're thinking
Anyway.
Damn right. All right. We'll
Goodbye,
see everybody
everybody.
later. Take it easy.
Bye, you guys.
For those of you that want to be a guest on Around the Reel, please email Sam at aroundthereel253@gmail.com.
That's aroundthereel253@gmail.com.
Not Messenger. Do not message Aaron on Messenger, because then he has to send you a message that says email Sam at aroundthereel253@gmail.com.
That's aroundthereel253@gmail.com.
How come they can't just message me again?
Because nobody wants to fucking talk to you.
Can anybody reach out? That's an artist, filmmaker, actor?
If you're an artist of any kind, we want to hear from you.
But we are going to vet the crap out of you.
We don't care if you make millions of dollars in Hollywood or if you're just beginning your career in the art industry. We don't care. So everybody that wants to be on Around the Reel, yes, we want you.
That's aroundthereel253@gmail.com.